Hi guys, James here, it's Bespoke Airsoft again, and we've got another exciting product to review here for you today. And today we are looking at the Umarex Glock 19X gas blowback pistol.
Girls with their nails done.
So yeah, I'm not sure when these videos will roll out, the Ludus and the 19X. I've obviously filmed them on the same night, so I'm getting worse and worse as I'm going as the night goes on, because I do like a bit of a drink on the evening, as anybody does. Of course, always drink responsibly. But in this video, we're looking at the Glock 19X, and this is the official Umarex model. I had been looking at the WE19X. I shot it, I was really impressed with how it performed with .3s literally straight out of the box. The range I was getting on it was absolutely superb. Almost pulled the trigger and bought the 19X from WE, but there was something in the back of my mind just going, just hang fire, you know, just wait. And you know, when you can find somewhere that has the 19X in stock, because both retailers and distributors were just constantly out of stock. I couldn't get my hands on one. I asked a couple of companies if they'd send me one to review. Obviously no one answered that call. They didn't want me saying anything. I don't think Umarex wanted me saying anything bad about it, because I am always honest. And we had the chance to buy some of these in, so I got one for myself, bought it with my own money of course. But don't be alarmed if you do want one of these. I've made sure that we've bought some in on the website, so if you see this and you do like what you see, you can go onto the website and pick one up for yourself. Let's get this thing out of the box. Nice Glock branded box here with all the usual logos, bits and pieces. We don't care about boxes, do we? As long as it's packaged right. It's not going to be like the Ludus with the nice foam insert, but it's nice and safe. Obviously you'll see the gun is not in the plastic bag that it comes with, and it's got a light on there just because I couldn't resist pulling this out of the box and playing with it when I first got it delivered. So I'll just pull the pistol out here. In the box you obviously have a manual and bits and pieces as well, and you also have the Allen key to set the hop, which I'll go into with you on the top down camera just because it'll be easy for you to see. I've been looking forward to this for some time. We actually, well, I reviewed the Umarex Glock pistols when we had the old unit. You know, it's a couple of years ago now maybe. I did the 17 Gen 3, the 17 Gen 4 and the 19. Superbly impressed with those pistols, but at the time I was happy with my FNX 45 and I just didn't need another pistol. I have ran Glocks for years. I had a TM Glock that I ran for a long time, which was upgraded, which I absolutely adored. I shot Glocks that often over the time I've been airsofting. We actually went out to the States in Vegas in like 2016 or something to do SHOT Show. We went to a gun range. It was the first time I'd shot a real, like, you know, a real firearm in terms of like, you know, like a pistol compared to, I'd shot shotguns and stuff before in the UK, but I got on the range and I fired, still at the target somewhere. I fired a magazine's worth at this target, and I'm not being big-headed at all, guys, at all. I'm not trying to put smoke up my own arse, but the guy at the range said he reckoned he was being punked because he couldn't believe I'd shot that well with not having any firearms experience before. And when I told him what I did, obviously I'd airsofted for a long time, I'd carried the airsoft Glocks, straight away he was like, you know, that'll be why, because he'd had some air pistol or air, you know, sort of air gun shooters that had been there before and shot well. Don't get me wrong, when I'd shot the other pistols like the 1911 and the other bits and pieces I didn't do as well with, but the Glock, for some reason, I think I put at 15 metres, I think I had a grouping of like 2 or 3 inches. But it just felt so natural to me because I'm used to the shape. I've been using Glocks for ages, and just picking this up again just gets the blood flowing and wants me to get out there and on the field in some CQB and stuff and use this thing. And I couldn't resist putting my X300 Ultra on there. I've had this tan X300 Ultra for so long without anything to put it on, because my FNX, I use a copy which had a different LED, and so it's nice and bright, but it fits in a Kydex holster. When I had this, I was going to put it on the FNX, but then it wouldn't fit in the Kydex holster, so it's just been sat there gathering dust. So I'm going to babble a lot in this video, guys. I really am sorry, but I'll try to do my best with you. This pistol looks the absolute nuts. It feels great. It is basically a 17 size frame with a 19 length slide with all the Gen 5 features you'll see with other pistols. It feels great in the hand. We'll get more to the up close stuff and the top down camera in just a moment. If you didn't see the last video with the Ludus, obviously go check that out. I've got this new scoring system. It's just for fun. It's not the opinion of the business or the brand at all. It's just my opinion from me to you in the camera. Bit of fun on an evening and just showing you and thinking, giving me a score and just, you know, having some fun along the way. I know I keep saying that, but I'm sorry, I've had a bit to drink tonight. So we get into top down camera. We're going to take a closer look at this thing. We're going to see what it looks like. Then we're going to get into the FPS and the accuracy test. Then we're going to come back. I'm going to tell you what I think. I'm going to score this thing. And then we're going to give you my final conclusion on the Umarex Glock 19X gas blowback pistol. Stay tuned. So here it is, something I've been wanting to get my hands on for a long time, but haven't managed to do so. It'd be nice to have been sent a review copy. I did approach a couple of people about that. Unable, no one wanted to send it to me. I don't know whether they just don't want me to talk bad about the product. I didn't want to keep it, I just wanted to have a look at one. And a few of you guys have been requesting the 19X because I'd looked at the original Umarex line back, you know, a couple of years ago on the YouTube channel. So I've actually picked this one up myself. We've actually bought some of these in for sale on the website as well, because I thought if I'm going to review this thing, I might as well get some on the website for you guys. If you like it, you know, and you want to buy it from us, you go straight to the website and find it. This is the 19X. This is probably one, I know, yes, I've done a lot of Glocks on this show, but this has got to be the one I've been most excited about, because not only did I want to review this, I probably wanted to own one as well. So, very nice box. You'll notice here that I have been playing with it already because I could not contain myself. So I have got my Real Surefire X300 Ultra on there. So it'll come wrapped in the usual plastic baggie. You've got safety precautions guide, you've got a little Glock manual here, which is very, very cool indeed. Shows you how to use the iron sights and such. And then under here you've got an Allen key as well. Let's pop these back in. That Allen key will be very useful for something that we'll be talking about in a minute. Let me just get it out so we've got it ready. So this is an official Glock product. Now, Umarex started selling official Glock products a couple of years ago. They're manufactured by VFC, which is a very, very good OEM. I absolutely love to death my FNX 45. And then, you know, they weren't, even though they were good pistols, it wasn't enough to pull me away from my FNX. That was my go-to sidearm. But then when they brought the 19X out, I think it had a little bit more about it. It was the gun that they sort of put forward for the trials, which they then lost to the SIG P320 and the M17. And it was just a cooler pistol in my eyes. The finish on them is absolutely brilliant. They've got this lovely tan effect, and it's basically a 17 frame with a 19 length slide, which is why you'll see that the torch sticks out a little bit more than usual. Of course, it coming from Umarex, you've got all the trademarks there. You've got the Glock on the grip. See this sticker, I will take it off. Let's. It does say 2 joules max on there, but that's not the case, so don't worry about that. They do have a CO2 variant of this pistol, which is not like a, I would say, the way I want to put it is not like a proper airsoft skirmishable sidearm. It's like a CO2 thing, and it does shoot like 400, 450 feet per second, so it is quite gnarly. So there we go. As you'll see, I have wiped the majority of this off, but it comes absolutely caked in oil. We've got some more trademarks there. They do match, as you'll see. Little Glock logo. We've got officially licensed product of Glock, which is nice. Love the trades, no made in Taiwan rubbish or anything like that. And then you've got a serial number under the rail section here as well. I'm not going to take this off just because it's a bit of a pain. But this is probably how I'll run this pistol. I've been waiting to put this on something for a long time now, so I've finally got something. So the other great feature of this pistol is they come with the correct coloured magazines. Now, as far as I'm aware with the real firearm, The magazines that I think they do ship them with a couple of different magazines in the box, and they do have the extension pieces, which I would have liked, but it's not it's not a deal breaker. And what they've done here is they've done the magazines correctly, so you can switch the magazine release from either side, whether you're right-handed or left-handed. You also have a left-handed slide release as well, so it's very lefty friendly. And they've put the two notches on the magazine. This is where the WE sort of struggled, in my opinion, with the Gen 5s, and I actually fired the WE 19X, and I was going to buy a WE 19X. I had one to review. I don't think it's been put up on the YouTube channel just yet. We took it to site. I was firing .3s from it straight away, and I was getting some amazing range, and I was like, that is it. But something was just niggling at the back of my mind that I wanted to hold out for the official one with this pistol, because I don't know what it was. Something was telling me that I wanted something a little bit more. And I bumped into a friend of mine who had one of these pistols, and he let me fire it, and I was like, I am sold. It was so punchy, which I'll get to a little bit later on. So you've got Glock logos on the bottom of the magazine, and it's just the correct colour as well. They do this right, but getting these at the moment is an absolute pain. Getting the pistols was an absolute pain as well, because the UK distributor is unfortunately always, it shows that it's a good product, of course, but they're always out of stock. So fit and finish is very good, and switching the magazine release will actually work, where on the WE Gen 5s and the 19X, so far as I can tell, you're able to switch the magazine release, but the magazines they come with don't have these two notches, so it won't actually latch, or that's what I've ran into with the ones that I've had. Very nice iron sights. I love iron sights that have some kind of differential type of colour, whether it be white, whether it be fibre optics. I'm just going to grab a pistol that we've reviewed previously. You'll see the Ludus, black on black. I don't like black on black sights. I prefer to have something very prominent and easy to find, easy to use. I do like Glock sights. I am a Glock fan, you can probably tell. Some people are, some people aren't. However, stripping this pistol down is very much the same as any other Glock platform. Of course, you want to wrap the slide first to make sure the hammer is located in the downward position. You want to pull down the two tabs, and we can slide the slide off. You'll see here, nice fit and finished, very oily, but the parts look well made. They use nice materials. VFC do make good products. And you can see here the beefed up spring guide. The usual materials there for the blowback units that they're using their Glocks, which are normally a silver colour. However, you'll see a difference here with this new spring guide, and I'm going to get to this in just a moment. I just think that they've absolutely nailed this release, and I love the bevels that they have on the front of the 19 as well, the 19X2, same as the Gen 5s. This is probably one of the first pistols as well that I won't stipple. I'm a sucker for stippling Glocks as well. I like shaving the grooves off, putting a nice stipple around. However, I don't want to mess up this finish. When you stipple tan polymers or dark earth polymers, you do get a bit of burnt sections, so it won't always be a nice consistent colour. So I'm going to leave this as it is. It is nice and comfortable. That new spring guide, we're going to get to that now, which is a great new feature, which is just, it boggles my mind why somebody hasn't done this already with airsoft pistols. I think people are cutting on. I think VFC have made the new official SIG M17, and they've done something very similar with that spring guide as well. So you can pop this Allen key in, and you can actually hear that turning there. It doesn't have to be all the way in, by the way, but you just turn it, and it clicks. So don't worry about the accuracy and the FPS test. I hadn't messed with the hop, that's already been pre-recorded. But that is an absolute plus, because I think it needs to be gone on the days of stripping the pistol down to set the hop. I think if you've got something on hand like this and you can just pop it in the front, make sure your finger's off the trigger, obviously. If you don't want to shoot yourself in the hand as well, make sure your magazine is out. You can put this tool in and you can set the hop, which is absolutely superb. Away we go. Again, moving on to another niggly area of mine with airsoft pistols is the triggers. and I'm glad to say that this take up on this pistol is very, very easy to predict. Take up, you've got the wall right there, you've got the break, and the reset. Very prominent, very easy to find. Oh, very, very good trigger indeed. That trigger gets a 9 out of 10 from me. It would be nice to have some nice... I'm going on a tangent here, but I've got a nice guns modified trigger. I'm hoping it does fit, because that will just set this pistol off. I'd even go to say as far, for me personally, this won't be the same for everybody. I'm going to say that trigger's a 10 out of 10 for me. It just feels so good, absolutely superb. The weight and everything like that just feels great in the hand. It's got nice trays, there's no wobble in the slide, they've used good materials, and I think they've done a really good job with this. I haven't shot the Umarex 17s. I had a 43 for a while, which is like a salient one, which I sold to a friend. So I haven't had a Glock for a while, but I am a Glock fan, so it's about time I had one. I picked one up for myself. Again, this isn't a freebie from anybody. I've paid my own money for this, but we did get some in extra just in case on the website, just in case you see this video, you like it, you want to pick one up. I'm going to keep babbling on here, so I'm going to shut up now. I've just got the Surefire X300 Ultra on there, just because this is how I run the pistol, and I have been playing with it. Of course, I can't resist before I get on the camera playing with these things. So very nice indeed. It's going up there for a very high score on my new scoring system, which we went into on the last video. Let's get to the part you came here for, the FPS test, which may surprise you, and then the accuracy test following straight after. So you'll see there from the FPS test, it was a little bit low. Now when I have gassed this up, I was firing it in the garage, it was quite cold. The CO2, because I did the Ludus and the 19X at the same time, the CO2 coats a little bit better with the cold as CO2 does. I have seen videos of this gun shooting warmer, which is probably the case. I don't know where the hop set, it could be fully on, it could be fully off, I really don't know, because I shoot them as they are out the box. It was about 265, 270-ish, so not bad at all. Obviously it's going to have a little bit of an FPS drop compared to the 17 because you've got a shorter barrel. I'm not bothered about FPS, you shouldn't be either. It's not all that, you know, in terms of what you need. However, it does help when you're using heavy ammo like .3s and above. The accuracy test you'll see as well, let's get into that. Put an emoji on a piece of paper and I fire it. Now what I do is I line up the iron sights so they're pointing directly at this. I fire it from a standing position like this right next to the camera at 10 meters, and I just try and keep the iron sights as steady as I can. I haven't got the steadiest hands at all. As steady as I can while firing it. Sometimes, if in previous tests you've seen I've fired it and the gun's fired low or high and I've had to compensate for it, I didn't have to do it with the Ludus or the 19X. And you'll see, you know, all those shots will hit a head size target, 10 meters, not a problem at all. I fired 23 rounds. They say this gun holds 22 rounds. I can fit 23 in with a space at the top. So it's 23 round magazine to me. I don't know why it's 23 rounds, it's 17 style mag. So you'll see here, it's all pretty much central. I had a couple of flies, again that could have been me because I'm not the most stable person with firing, and it is bloody cold here at the moment in winter. So I'm happy with that. Headshot target every single time we have 23 rounds at 10 meters. Superb results, happy as Larry. So let's get into this new James POS. and that doesn't mean piece of, it means personal opinion score. So James' personal opinion score. We'll see how this did. The Ludus in the last video did 76 out of 100. So what I'll basically do, I have 10 points. The 10 points are first impression, material and finish, disassembly, magazine, hop up, FPS, accuracy, feel and feedback, parts and accessories availability, price, and then each one of those has a score of 10, and then we score it over 100. So very straightforward. First impressions with this thing, I will say, are absolutely up there. It feels great. There's no wobble in the slide. The materials they've used are really good. The finish they've put on the side as well is it excels other pistols in my opinion. The finish almost looks like Cerakote. It's that good. The finish on the barrel could be a little bit better, but again, you know, it's very, very good indeed. See, my light went straight on there, of course. Probably could do with something a little bit shorter because it is quite long. The only thing that puts it down, in my opinion, is the boxes that come in, and it's not a case of, oh look, it's a nice box, but if you look how they're packaged, it's not very much protection. If you look at the Ludus boxes and such, they've got foam in there. You know, this isn't a cheap pistol. At $159.99. If you think something like the Sekita Rudis pistols still come with this same box at around about the same price. So the box, I'm not going on what the box looks like or, you know, appearances or anything like that. It's just in terms of how safe it is in there. So I do have to mark it down a point for that. But it's still a high scoring pistol at 9 out of 10 just because this gun feels amazing. Materials and finish, again, the magazine's finished really well. The polymers are extremely good. The seam lines are very minimal on the mould. The finish on the slide is absolutely superb. It'll even go as far to get Glock markings on the iron sights. Again, it's just an all-round great finished pistol. They've done a really good job with this. The only thing I wasn't too keen on the finish was with the barrel, but again, that could just be a bugbear of mine. So again, I'm going to give it a 9. I've marked it down a point for the barrel, just in my opinion. Disassembly of this thing, you'll have seen the video. It's extremely easy. You just make sure the pistol is cocked to drop the hammer, and then you pull down the 2 tabs and it slides off, and then pulling this thing apart is very, very easy. The spring guide just pops out here. I'm not going to do it now, but very, very easy to take apart and maintain, and a case of adjusting the hopper and such is really, really easy. Again, I'm going to give that a 9 again. I'm not going to quite give it a 10 because the first time I did try and take it apart, it did jam up a little bit, but it's been better since. So 9 out of 10 again. Magazine is very nice. It's got a nice Glock logo on the bottom. It's got a base plate which is very easily slid to one side. It does hold and retain in place while you're gassing the magazine as well. That doesn't wobble too much on the magazine. This again is one of the nicest finishes on the magazines that I've ever seen. It's similar to what they've put on the slide. It's got all the correct markings, being a licensed product. I've whacked this in the gun countless amounts of times. There's no wear on this pistol. There's literally just a bit of grease here and there where I've done it. The moulding on the top of the feed lips as well is very strong and robust. They've actually notched the magazine all the way out to the top here, so it's very easy to put rounds in. What I've also noticed as well is when you fill this magazine, they double stack very closely, and the further they get to the top, this is probably why it has a little bit less compared to other manufacturers. As they get close to the top, they get spaced further apart, and the only thing I can imagine is this channel for the magazine where it feeds the BBs up is actually slightly tapered, so it tapers thinner at the top. They're probably done that for reliability. Very nice feature. I was glad I picked up on that and spotted it. Magazine, in terms of this compared to other manufacturers, I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10 because this is probably one of the best magazines that I've seen off the cuff. In fact, no, I'm going to mark it down. I'm going to mark it down 1 point because the only thing that concerns me is these really tiny screws that hold the plate onto the bottom. And there was, sorry, a bit of a seam line on the bottom of that plate there, so it's got to be mentioned, guys. I'm not just going to give this 10 out of 10 for everything because I like it. I'm going to mark it down and give it 9 again. Hop up, extremely satisfied with that. I think the way that VFC are going with these pistols, with literally just putting an Allen key and turning it and doing it. You know, after I'd fired the FPS and the accuracy test, I did have a quick play. I think it was this morning, just before obviously going to work, fighting the guard, and it seemed to have good results, seemed to adjust well, so I'm very happy with that indeed. And that is getting a 10 out of 10 for me, just because of how easy and quick it is to do. And you haven't got to have the slider part to do it. Just obviously, if you're firing this pistol on sight or in a game zone and you do want to adjust the hop up, just pop the magazine out, guys. It takes the silliest of mistakes just to pull the trigger, and you're going to shoot yourself in the hand. So just make sure you pull the magazine. So for the hop up, I'm going to give it 10. It's doing quite well. FPS, it is low. So it was doing 260, 265-ish, which is a little bit low compared to other brands. I've seen some people chrono this on film and it has done higher, but that wasn't what I've seen. I've done it a few times. The highest I got was about 270, 275. So I am going to mark it down a little bit for FPS because it is a little bit underpowered compared to competitors. Not that that makes any difference in terms of performance, guys. Don't get it twisted. But it's got to be mentioned. So, you know, it's not doing as well as the other brands, so it gets marked down. For that, I'm going to give it a 7. Because it still has great results even though the FPS is slightly lower. Accuracy, again, it could be a little bit better. Setting the hop properly, I was using 0.3s with the accuracy test again. Setting the hop for the weight and really tuning it in, perhaps doing a bit of a barrel swab to get any. This was covered in oil, so the inner barrel could be absolutely caked in grease and oil. I'd probably just put a few lapping passes through it, just to make sure it's nice and consistent. So I would like to, or perhaps put a tighter bore barrel in there just to try and get a little bit of extra power out of it. I think I've got a couple of mil before it comes to the end of the barrel anyway, about 5-6 mil. So I'm going to mark it down a little bit for accuracy. I'm going to give it an 8. Could be a little bit better, but still very, very good performance for such a short barrel. Feel and feedback. Now, the one thing I do want to say about this, it has probably one of the best triggers. Glocks tend to have good triggers from decent manufacturers anyway, but this trigger is absolutely superb. I really enjoyed firing it. The trigger I would give 10 out of 10. And the feedback, when you fire this thing, it's really strange because I fired a lot of gas blowback pistols in the time that I've been airsofting, and Umarex just does it a little bit different. I don't know what it is. I haven't been able to pinpoint it. Perhaps someone out there that's got this pistol or fired it will be able to point it out to me. But we've all fired gas blowback pistols. We've all had the slide reciprocate in the ways that they do. But this is clear, guys. It is empty. The way the 19X fires, you can feel like that initial punch of the blowback system, and it feels great when you're firing it. It's really fun, and just that tiny little bit of feedback, that little extra kick. That extra punch, I haven't got words for it because I don't know what it is that's causing it, but it's almost like it's not like snappy, because I've fired pistols that are snappy and they reciprocate very fast all the time. It's just almost like as you're firing it, as soon as you pull the trigger, it's like someone's tapping on the front of the pistol with like a hard object like a hammer, and you've got that shock down the frame, and it just feels great. And firing this thing is extremely enjoyable. So for the fact that it's got a great trigger and it feels great to shoot it, great blowback action, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 for feel and feedback. 9, parts and accessories availability. Now, in terms of accessories, there are none that I'm aware of. But in terms of availability for the magazines and availability for the guns as well, they're not doing great. I mean, there are other shops that have stopped this. He's obviously a UK distributor. I do check his website all the time. Perhaps I check it at the wrong times. Every time I go on there and check the Glocks, these specifically when I've been trying to stock them, they've just been constantly out of stock. I've been unable to get them since they released, which is a real bad point in my part. So the magazines again are really hard to find at the moment. I can't find anyone in the UK, even the distributor, that has them in stock. This goes nothing against the distributor for the UK. At all. I'm not trying to rip on them at all, but if you're going to stock a pistol, and I say this to the other companies that we work with as well, the company that brings in obviously the security products, if you're going to have a pistol come into stock that's a new product, you need to be making sure to the manufacturer that when the pistols are available, you've got to have the magazines. Now, yes, they might have the black 17 mags, but people are going to want these magazines. I want these magazines that are the same colour as the pistol. I know it's weird, but as airsofters, we're all a little bit weird, aren't we? And I want the same magazines that's come with a pistol. Can't find them anywhere. I can find them in places like Germany and other places in Europe. So Umarex are distributing these magazines, but why has the UK distributor not got these in? And I can never find these pistols in stock with them as well. So magazines at the moment are hard to get. I can't find anyone in the UK that has them. Again, they're expensive. I think they're about 45 euros. You know, 45 euros. If you're looking at like a CO2 mag for the new Ludus that came out, they're £39.99, which is for a CO2 mag. The gas mags are cheaper, they're like 33. There's a lot of pistols out there. I mean, you used to get a Tokyo Marui Glock 17 mag, like retail price for like 25 quid. So they're expensive as well, so I do have to mark them down on that. Obviously we've been able to get the products in stock, which is great, but getting them was a pain, and the magazines aren't available, so it has to be noted down. So I'm going to give it a 6 for that. That's more a fault of the manufacturer, not the manufacturer, the distributors, and the guys that are pushing the product. It's not a fault of the gun, so just bear that in mind when you get the final score. Price $159.99. I think is an absolute superb price. I think it's right about where it needs to be. You've got the license in there. I mean, when VFC was selling Glock 17s and stuff before Umarex got on board and it was an official product, you used to be able to pick those guns up from the Asian websites delivered to your door in the UK, plus your import and stuff for like 90 quid or 80 quid. Excuse me. It just seems like, which was expected of course, but it just seems like as soon as the official licensing got involved, the pistol price just doubled. But compared to with everything else that's coming out nowadays, compared to how high prices are on brands like Tokyo Marui, you're getting this pistol, it's fully traded, it's got all the right materials, it looks great, it's got all the markings and correct bits and pieces on it for $159.99. I think that price is exactly where it needs to be. The only thing I'd ask for is the magazines to be a little bit cheaper. They don't need to be that expensive, do they? You can't tell me the coating's worth 10 extra quid, £10. So I'm going to mark it down a point for price. I think is good. Magazines could be a little bit cheaper, so I'm going to give it a 9. So that wraps it up. I think this pistol's obviously going to do better than the Ludus, but I think rightly so. It's not just me being a fanboy of this pistol. If the Ludus had brushed up a few areas here and there, especially with the bits and pieces that have come separately from the suppliers, it would have done better. So let's total this up. We've got 9, 9, 9, 9, 10, 7, 8, 10, 6, 9, 86. That's quite a high score. So we've got 86 out of 100. So very, very high score there. Obviously the more pistols that we do on the show, the more information we'll have. I'll obviously keep a log of these pistols when I'm scoring them, and I can't go back through and backdate all the pistols I've done because I don't have them to hand. But I'm extremely, extremely impressed with this release. I'm so glad, honestly guys, I'm so glad I waited for the official product to put in my own personal collection. That does not mean that the other pistols that we have on the website, like the WE-19Xs, are bad pistols at all. Yes, they don't have trades. Yes, they haven't got as nice materials and such and funky hop setups, but they do perform really, really well out the box, and they do have slightly higher feet per second output on the chrono as well. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you haven't got bored about me fanboying over this thing. I've tried to keep it as unbiased as possible, which I think I have done. I've given it credit where it's due, and I've knocked it where it has failed as well. So let me know what you think of the new scoring system. It's just, like I say guys, it's just a bit of fun. It's just me on a night time having a bit of a drink and having a bit of a banter with the camera, obviously, because there's no one behind it. But hope you've enjoyed this review of the Glock 19X from Umarex. I'm extremely happy with this. We have these in stock on the website ready to go, so if you've seen this and you feel like you want to purchase from us because of the video, really appreciate that guys. We have them in stock on the website. We don't have the magazines at the moment, but you can get them from certain places in Europe. But again, hope you've enjoyed it. All the products and everything that you see on the show are on the website bespokeairsoft.co.uk. If you need anything, just email, message me, all that good stuff. Thanks for supporting us up till now. Thanks for getting this far through the video. If you have done so, hats off to you, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.